Hey everybody, hey listen man, it's first month of the year is over. It's done. It's complete. It's in the tank. Or it's in the bag, however you want it, or in the books, however you want to put it, but it's done. All right, so listen, it's done. You got your first year over. That's the first month over. It's over. It's over. It doesn't exist anymore in reality. All you have to do now is make sure you do everything you can in February to make things go now, okay? So this is one of the most important things is that you need to let go of the past and move forward, regardless of how January went for you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter one iota how January went. The only thing that matters now is what are you doing right now, today. That's the only thing that matters, okay? And so one of the things that people make mistakes is they focus on the past, they focus on how things didn't go, or maybe if they went well, they're focusing on what went well, and they're not focused on what they should be doing right now. And right now, you need to be prospecting, setting appointments, doing presentations, overcoming objections. You need to know all the products inside and out. You need to be recruiting at the kitchen table, and you need to be getting those recruits in the field ASAP, right? You need to get their list, and you need to get them in the field. And I constantly remind you, those are the fundamentals of Primerica. They have never changed. They've been the same since I've been involved in Primerica for 27 years. They've not changed one iota. You've got to get great at those things. You've got to get your teammates great at those things, and then you've got to do them every day. You've got to stay focused on that. Whether you like it or not, you need to do that. That's how you make this go. So today, it's not going to be a real long call, but I want to talk to you about creating your dreams and goals. You know, I wrote this thing on. I want to share it with you and add some stuff as I'm going through it. But creating your dreams and goals is really what you're all here for. I mean, that's for the reason you signed up for this exercise, for this enterprise. You want to go where you want to go, all right? And this is true for anything, regardless of what you're doing. Whatever you've chosen to do, my opinion is why not create the best possible scenario possible? Why not make it be amazing? Why not realize all your dreams and goals? And there's a way to do that I'm going to talk about today. I want you to open up your mind, okay? Because a lot of times you hear things and, your mind's not open, so you can't really hear it. That's one of the problems with why it's so important to really, really examine your belief system and what you believe, because it affects what you do. Your beliefs always, 100% always dictate your actions, and your actions always create your results. So whatever's happening in your life, if you're getting great results, well, then your beliefs are good, your thinking's good. If your results are poor, then you need to examine those and say, what's not working for me? Let me see if I can change that and improve that. So let me get into this, okay? Creating your dreams and goals. Look, your mental images along with your strong emotion and action. See here, this is a key here. Your mental images along with your strong emotion and action are the blueprints for creating whatever happens in your life, whether it be physical or a condition or an event. They are going to appear to you in accordance with what you think about most ardently. In other words, ardently by most of the time. Your emotional level and your action. So what are you thinking about constantly and with a lot of emotion, and then what are you acting on? That's what's going to create your life. So you've got to really be conscious of that. Most people struggle in life because they have low levels of awareness. Their consciousness is low, so they are constantly running into one challenge after another, okay? If that's you, then you need to work on that. Look, the intensity of a feeling or a thought or a mental image is therefore the most important element in determining its eventual physical materialization. So what does that mean? In other words, the intensity of the feelings or thoughts or mental images you have are going to determine what happens in your life, what you create, what kind of business you create, what kind of life you create, what kind of relationships you create, what kind of events happen in your life, what kind of home you live in, what kind of cars you drive, what kind of vacations you take, what kind of experience you have, what kind of success you have, what kind of awards you win, whatever it is, okay? It's going to determine by the intensity. This is the key word, the intensity of your feelings, your thoughts, your mental images, okay? So the intensity, you guys, is the core about which the electromagnetic energy units form. So that sounds kind of out there, right? Everything is energy. This is a scientific fact. This is not up for discussion anymore, right? If you know anything at all about quantum physics, every single thing on the planet Earth is made up of energy. Even things that seem like a chair that's in your room, or a tree that's standing there, or whatever, a car that's made out of metal, a rock on the floor, all of it, everything is energy. And it's moving, too. It may seem crazy, may seem weird if you've never heard this before, but that's not up for discussion anymore. It's a fact. Everything is energy. You are energy, all right? Words are energy. Everything's energy, okay? So the intensity is the core about which the electromagnetic energy units form. Everything is energy. It's a scientific fact. There's no thing that's not made up of energy, as I said. Thoughts are energy. Thoughts are by nature creative. So when you think a thing, you are actually in the beginning stages of creating a thing. So everything begins with a thought. Everything you could imagine. If you have a computer in front of you, that began as a thought from somebody, right? Somebody thought about that before it became physical reality. It didn't just all of a sudden appear magically. It came because somebody thought about that. If you're sitting in your car right now listening to this on your cell phone, or if you're in your living room in your chair and you're sitting in a chair or whatever, everything, if you're in a building, if you're in a home, it doesn't matter where you are, all those things that are now that you see physical, that you can touch, you can feel them, right? You can see them. They were at one point a thought, someone's thought. So that's important that you understand that concept, because your life as it is right now was creative through your thinking, through your thought process, through what you've thought about most often, okay? Good or bad, okay? So thoughts, like I said, are energy, and thoughts are by nature creative. What you think about most intensely with emotion is what will always show up in your physical reality. Therefore, the more intense the core or the goal, the sooner you will actually create that dream or goal you've decided on. So the more intensely you think about it, the more intensely you focus on it, the more emotionally you apply to it, the faster it's going to manifest, the faster it's going to be created in your world, where you can touch it, feel it, taste it, whatever, okay? So this is the problem for most people, and why most people just never seem to realize their goals. They're always trying, but they're not really getting there. And by the way, when you're trying something, it means you have absolutely no intention of doing it. So whenever you hear someone say, I'm trying to get appointments, I'm trying to recruit people, I'm trying to shoot lower scores, I'm trying, when you say that, you automatically have no intention of doing that, okay? So we need to go from trying to doing, all right? There can no more, you need to really basically eliminate the word trying from your vocabulary, because, you could, like, if you had a pencil in your hand, in your right hand, and I told you to try to pick up the pencil with your left hand, well, you can't, there is no trying. You either pick it up or you don't pick it up, right? Well, that's the same with everything in your whole life. That's why you need to eliminate the word trying from your vocabulary. If your kids say, well, I'm trying, you got to make them do 10 push-ups, okay? There's no more trying. There's just doing or not doing, all right? It's important that you get that concept, all right? So for the problem for most people is they just never seem to realize their goals and dreams, is because they simply don't visualize and focus all their energy at a level that would allow these electromagnetic energy, right, cores to form the outcome you say you want. So if you're not focusing and visualizing and emoting at a high enough level, those things that you say you want, they are never going to materialize. They're just not. I know this may sound somewhat out there for many of you, but let me ask you a question. Are you currently creating the life you really desire right now? Really? Are you? Are you? Come on. Be honest with just you and me right here. We're talking. Are you really creating the life you really desire right now? Are you moving at the speed you want towards the goals you have, the dreams you have? If not, then open up your mind, because, look, folks, a closed mind is much like a parachute, a closed parachute. It's deadly to your progress, okay? So when you have a closed mind, when you make formed judgments, you have no chance. You can't grow, okay? You need to be open. Think about and be honest right now about your level of visualization and focus that you currently have towards your goals and your dreams. Think about it. Be honest about it. If we were to hook you up to a lie detector, one of those lie detectors, and ask you if you've been totally and completely focused on and committed to your goals and dreams, 99% of you would fail this test if you said yes to that. And you know it. You know what I'm talking about here, okay? So then you wonder, why is it just not happening for me? But intuitively, you know why. You just won't admit it. What you start doing, what most people start doing, you start looking outside yourself for why you're not reaching your goals. My spouse isn't supportive. My upline isn't helping me enough. I didn't go to college. I'm a woman, or I'm a man, or my ethnic background or religious background hinders me, or I'm too young, or I'm too old, or English isn't my first language, or I'm not really good enough, or I'm not a salesperson, or I don't want people to think I'm a salesperson, or to think I'm trying to make money using our relationship. The list goes on and on. All of these are the things that people do to justify why they're not getting the results they want. But the only reason is you aren't seeing it, you aren't focusing on it, and you aren't acting on it at the level that would allow it to actually happen. Look, if you do not visualize it, focus all your energy on it, and act massively towards that goal, there is no goal, there is no dream you can achieve in any field or any profession or any business. You're always going to get mediocre results. So you have to decide, do you really want what you say you want? Are you willing to totally commit yourself, to see it clearly in your mind, to focus all of your attention on it constantly in every waking moment, and then fearlessly act on it? If yes, then it's only a matter of time until you manifest it. And it's going to happen quickly if you do that at a very high level. If not, it will not happen. And you will do what everyone does. Look for some reason outside of you for why it didn't happen for you. You will tell a story to everyone that you know is not the truth, but you'll kid yourself that it is, so you can continue to feel good about who you are, to feel okay about you. But that's not what you want, is it? See, this also applies whether your mental image and focus is a fearful one or a joyful one. Now there is a very important problem right here. If your minds are focused and highly intense, and you think in vivid mental and emotional images, these will quickly form into physical events. In other words, the goals you have will happen, whether it's to get promoted, earn a specific amount of money, buy a home, drive a specific kind of car, win a golf tournament for me, right? These things will happen and turn into physical events. If you are also of a highly pessimistic nature, if you're a pessimist, you're often thinking and feeling have feelings of potential disaster, that things aren't going to go right for you, that they're going to come some objection, or there's going to be some disaster happen, right? Then these thoughts will be quite faithfully reproduced as well in your experience. You're going to create that as well. That's why when you're worried and anxious and thinking about what could go wrong, so often it does, because you create it and you don't even know you're creating, because what are you doing? You're thinking about it all the time. The same is true in the reverse. If you're thinking about winning and succeeding, one of the things I used to do before I would go on appointments, I would visualize, I would literally do this. I would sit in my car, or before I made phone calls, I would sit in my car if I'm sitting in front of a phone, and I would think in my mind, I would visualize how that appointment was going to go, how they were going to receive me, that they were going to love what I'm talking about, that they're going to be really open and receptive, and they're going to love the theories and concepts and strategies that I would come up for them, right? Or if I'm playing golf, right, if I'm playing and I have a shot and it's over water, I don't visualize the ball going in the water. Most amateurs visualize the ball going in the water. No, I'm visualizing my target. I'm visualizing exactly the shape of the shot and where it's going to land and how it's going to roll towards the hole or whatever. That's what you're doing. You're visualizing. You're not visualizing what you don't want, because if you visualize what you don't want, you're going to get what you don't want. So you've got to be very conscious about what you're thinking about all the time. Every waking moment, you must become aware of what you're thinking about, because it's influencing the outcome. It's not just influencing it, it's creating the outcome, okay? So if you're highly pessimistic, often thinking the potential disaster, then you can see that managing what you're thinking about at all times becomes critically important. If you're serious about accomplishing your goals and dreams, you've got to manage your thinking. Look, in my experience, very few people do this, which is why very few people do extraordinary things, why very few people win in their life. Think about the people you know and the people you associate with. How many of them, honestly, actually think in terms of possibilities, seeing and creating the life of their dreams? I guarantee you it's not many, and that is no accident. It's the quality of their thinking, their ability to visualize clearly what they want, their emotional intensity towards that thing that they want, and their level of acting on those things that create those things. Look, the more intense your imagination and inner experience, therefore, the more important it is that you realize the methods of how this inner experience, this visualization, this focused thinking, this emotional intensity, those are all inner experiences, folks. Is not visualization an internal inner experience? Isn't focused thinking an internal thought process? Isn't emotion internal? All those things are internal. So that these are the things that create your life and become physically real in your life. Your thoughts and emotions begin every journey into physical actualization. Like I was saying earlier, right? That if you're sitting in a chair, some person designed that chair. It was a thought in their mind before it became a chair. That building that you're sitting in, if you're sitting in a building, was first a thought in an architect's mind, right? That car you're driving was an engineer's idea before it became a car, a physical car. Everything. This is so important that you understand this, that you get this, and that you buy into it. That your thinking creates everything. Okay? And you can see clearly when you start managing your thinking, you start thinking clearly and thinking well, you'll start seeing everyone around you how they're not doing that. And you can see so clearly why they struggle so much in their lives, in their businesses, in their relationships. Okay? So your thoughts and emotions begin every journey into physical actualization. At the exact moment you begin to think and emote about them, right? Attach emotion to them. That's when they start turning from really just potentiality into something physical, right? The mistake most people make is they don't keep up the visualization, the thoughts, the intense emotions, and the actions long enough for it to turn that initial thought into physical reality. In other words, they'll think, oh, I'd really like to, win this contest, be promoted. I'd like to make, $1,000 this month, or $10,000, or $100,000, or whatever the numbers. I'd like to win this golf tournament if I could, right? But they don't keep up the thought about that intensely enough, with enough emotion over a long enough period of time. It comes and it goes. Oh, you forget about it for a while, then they're reminded. That's why this accountability thing is so important, because your people are constantly forgetting about what they want, what they're trying to do, and they get distracted. And, of course, as soon as they get distracted and their intensity and their focus and their energy and their emotion about that thing starts to wane, they have no chance of accomplishing that thing. It's not going to happen. That's why you see people come in and out all the time. In sports, you see people do really well for a period, and all of a sudden their thinking changes, and they start doing poorly because their thinking changes. They think it's their technique or whatever, but really it's their thinking that creates all that, Okay? So you don't keep it up long enough. Look, if your thoughts also are pessimistic, whereby your first thought is always about what may go wrong or how you're not good enough, then it will seem like you're constantly just hitting your goals, and things just don't seem to turn out or work out right for you. If pessimism is the nature of your thoughts, this will be your results, because all thought is incredibly fertile in this environment. So when you're thinking about what could go wrong all the time, if you're worried constantly, if you're seeing gloom and doom and disaster, and nobody will follow me and nobody will join me, and I can't get anybody to do anything, nobody wants to work, it's this is so hard, it's so difficult. That's what you're thinking all the time. Well, guess what you're going to get all the time? That's what you're going to get. And you might think, well, no, that's not true, Hector. I don't really want it to be bad. It doesn't matter whether you want it or not. It's what you're thinking is that creates it. Again, as I'm going to say to you over and over, probably every time I'm on one of these calls and talking, how you think is everything. It creates everything. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you buy into that, the sooner you start managing your thinking, the faster you're going to reach your goals, whatever those happen to be, right? Whatever your objective might be. If, on the other hand, your feelings and your subjective experience are fairly well balanced, you're optimistic and creative in a constructive way, where you see the potentiality where things could be like, and you're seeing what you want to happen, you're seeing things turning out exactly as you'd like, right? And you're visualizing the scenarios that you'd like to see manifest in your life, and you're constantly thinking about that all the time, then it's going to seem that you have been blessed with unusual luck. For your pleasant thoughts and ideas and focus, just like the bad ones, just like the pessimistic ones, are going to come to pass quickly. Look, we've all experienced people who seem to have that Midas touch, where it all seems to go smoothly and effortlessly for them. Most people think of them as lucky, right? I know people have told me that I'm lucky. In reality, this is important. There is no such thing as luck. I was actually getting a Rolfing thing a couple of weeks ago, and the guy that does my Rolfing, which is a form of like body work, like a massage, but much, much more intense, he asked me that question, do you think there's such a thing as luck? I said, absolutely not. There is no such thing as luck. See, what happens, that because of our visualization, our focused thinking, our emotional intensity, they create positive results even if the people doing them don't realize that they're doing them, right? And that happened to me for a long time. I learned that you should focus on what you want and focus on your dreams and goals and think about them constantly. I read about this, but I didn't really realize what I was doing, and I'll talk about that a little more in a second. But you're always creating. You've done this all your lives. You just haven't ever done it consciously or on purpose. You think life's happening to you. Most people think everything's happening to them, and they're reacting to everything. But that's not how your life is manifesting and coming about. It's coming about because of what you're thinking, focusing, emoting about, and you're creating it. You just don't realize it. You think it's all happening to you, right? But it's never just happening to you, right? See, there is no such a thing of luck. There just isn't. It doesn't exist. Luck doesn't exist. Just like coincidence doesn't exist. Like you think things happen like, oh, what a coincidence, this just happened. No, there's no such thing as coincidence either. It's all created, all of it. Look, you all have the powerful ability to create exactly what you want. You just haven't realized it until now, and you may not even believe what I'm telling you. You may hear this talk and say, oh, he's full of it. But it doesn't matter if you believe it or not. It's still what you're doing. Look, you just haven't realized. Hopefully this talk will help you realize it, that you are unbelievably powerful people. All of you. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you think you have no talent, no ability, no whatever. You do. You absolutely do. If you decide to minute by minute manage what you visualize, what you focus on, and apply emotional intensity while acting, right, actually doing things, like making phone calls, working on your skill sets, mastering the 7 fundamentals, or, for me in golf, working on my swing, doing the things I need to do, right? Acting constantly on your goals and dreams, you will absolutely realize them. Nothing can stop you, and providence will take over to assist you all the way. It will seem like you're lucky or seem coincidental that all these amazing things begin to happen, but there's neither luck nor coincidence. You are always in the driver's seat, even if you're not aware of it. Look, the key to the life of your dreams is simply realizing these truths that I'm talking about right now. Look, this is how people who don't seem to be good people, have you ever seen those people you go, why are they so successful? Why? These people are idiots, or they're not very nice people, or they're something else, right, that I can't say on this call. But they have enormous success. They succeed in a big way. How's that possible that these nice people struggle so much and these people that are not so nice are having so much success? How's that possible? God, that's not fair, right? What they do is these people that you feel aren't good people that are succeeding, they visualize, they focus, they apply emotional intensity, and they act massively towards what they want to accomplish. To the rest of the world, it doesn't seem fair, but creating is creating. The process is the same for good people as well as not so good people. Doesn't matter. Even the criminal, he's focusing on robbing that bank, or he's focusing on getting those drugs distributed, or whatever, or Hitler back then, who focused on what he wanted to do, right? He got a lot of that done because he did these things that I'm talking about. He visualized it, he focused, he applied emotional intensity. In fact, Hitler was an amazingly emotionally intense public speaker, and he acted massively towards doing that heinous, horrible thing that he did, right? But he created all that still the same way that you can create good things, okay? It's still the same way. So it doesn't matter if you're wondering, why does God let this happen? Because he gives you this power to do this and lets you decide what you want to do and who you want to be. You have complete control over all choices, whether they're thought processes, emotions, or whatever in your life. You have control. Even though you've given up that control possibly in the past, you need to retake that control. You have it. Look, while the psychic reality behind creating physical reality is ignored by virtually everyone. So, this psychic reality that I'm talking about here, what's your thoughts, right? That's what I mean by your psychic, is ignored by almost everyone. You cannot use those methods effectively that I'm talking about here that do exist, nor can you take advantage of them unless you're aware of it. Now, guess what? Because I'm talking about this on this call, or you'll read this, you're going to be aware of it. So you no longer have the excuse that you're not aware of how this thing happens or how your life is created. Now you're aware. You have this ability. If you act on it, is how you're going to be able to create your dreams and goals. You must first realize you can do this, and then you have to begin to do it on purpose. Look, I've realized this for a long time. Thank God I've read so many fantastic books and things and attended so many great seminars over the years, right, early in my life when I was young. I've realized this for a very long time. Everything I've created in my business, in my personal life, has happened because of what I'm talking about. I have consciously done what I've been talking to you about. I've never worried about how to accomplish what I've accomplished. I simply have been super clear. This is important that you hear this. I have been super clear about exactly what I've wanted, whether it's in my business, how much money I want to make, how big a business I want to have, what kind of business ultimately I wanted to have, because I wanted a business that would allow me to live 80-90% of my life as if I were on vacation. I had that picture in my mind so clear, it's so vivid, it was unbelievable. It's like I'm watching a movie. For my personal life, I wanted a certain kind of marriage. I wanted my kids to turn out a certain way. I wanted everything to be just as it is now. And then what I've done is I've relentlessly, and this is the key word, relentlessly. I'm trying to be as clear as possible here. I relentlessly visualized it clearly, just like it's a movie. I focused every waking thought on what I was trying to do, whether it's building a business or creating a life, okay? I felt the emotional feeling of having it. While I'm watching this movie in my head, I felt the feeling of how I would feel as it was happening to me intensely. And then the key thing I did at the end is I acted massively towards creating that every day. I did something, made tons of phone calls, prospected like crazy, worked on myself like crazy, did everything I could physically possibly do every day towards making that a physical reality. The result is everything I've wanted that I practiced this on, right, that I focused this on, has materialized in my life exactly as I visualized it. Interestingly, as I review any success that I've achieved so far, the how to do it, it never concerned me. I never worried about how I was going to get promoted, how I was going to do something. I never worried about how. My only concern was what I wanted and how would it look and feel when I got there. So many amazing people and events have come into my life that it almost seems magical. But now I know that I actually created it with my visualization and my intense focus and my emotional intensity and then my massive action, just as you will or won't, depending if you buy into what I'm saying to you right now. Look, looking back, for me, it seems so effortless because it was. You are all making this thing called life way more difficult than it need be because you do not realize you have this ability that I've been talking about. Don't take my word for it either, okay? Don't take my word for what I've just said to you here in the past few minutes, okay? Practice it yourself. Practice what I've talked about here today. Not for just a day or two or a week or two or a month, but for at least one straight year. Do it every day, every waking moment. Be relentlessly intense about focusing about what you want, seeing it clearly. And you're going to be amazed, just like I was. Look, you have so much more power than you realize, folks. As I'm saying that, you have so much more power than you realize. I want you to feel those words, okay? I want you to really hear what I'm saying. You have so much more power than you give yourself credit for, than you realize. And as I'm saying that, some intuitive thing about you knows that's true. You know what saddens me most about the people who come through the door here in this business? If they would only act on this information, they'd be amazed, just like you would be. It saddens me that they don't. They don't realize who they really are and how powerful they are and how much God has given you. I hope you do. Hear this over and over again. As I send this out to you, read it over and over again. The more you think about this, the more you read it, the more you ingest it, the more it will start to make sense to you. Even if what I said it seems completely Looney Tune to you right now, keep doing it. I guarantee you that's exactly how I did what I did in my business, folks. It's exactly what you need to do as well.